Good morning and welcome back to the beautiful River Test down in Hampshire. And yes, I am going against my religion, and this is a feeder rod. I've fished this stretch for quite a few years now, and you get to know exactly what's in this beat. And when you're trotting down the river with sweet corn, you're going to get grayling, you're going to get the trout. They're the first species onto your bait, but every now and again a surprise comes along. Obviously we catch quite a few chub here, but a couple of weeks ago I had a dace of 10 ounces. There's also some big roach. I had a friend of mine have a bream there. Another guy said he spotted a carp the other day, and I've been sitting at home thinking, you know, yeah, it's great fun trotting a float down with corn and getting just, 40, 50 fish in a day, but is there a way of targeting coarse fish? If that is, is that 10 ounce dace the biggest dace in here? No, of course it's not. Is there any big roach in here? I'm sure there are. So I'm sitting here at home and I was just thinking, I'm going to fish a feeder, but there is no way you'll ever see me cast in a feeder with a piece of corn on. The reason being is the grayling come in, they suck it in, they sit there, they swallow it, and you deep hook it, and that is a no-no in my angling kind of book. So I thought, I'm going to come along, I'm going to fish a feeder, a little cage feeder with some bread crumb in there, and I'm just going to use a little hair and put some bread discs on there and hopefully avoid the grayling, avoid the trout. That'd be easier said than done. And hopefully a few coarse species will come along. Now this is a really, really good chub swim. You've seen me fish it on the float. I don't know how many are out there, but it's just full of chub. And I've just got out on the feeder, first chuck in, and straight away the tip's just rattled, and a chub about 3.5 pounds come along. So we know it works. I knew I was going to catch chub here. I'm not going to exhaust this swim. I'm just going to catch maybe another one and then move on, rove around the river, 20 minutes in a swim, and just see if I can actually catch maybe some dace, roach, and a few other species. So we'll see how it goes, but it's going to be fun. Well, just missed a bite, and rattle wallop. At first I thought this was something other than a chub, but the more I'm playing this, the more chub-like it's becoming, which is what I expect in here. And yeah, there we go, another chub. I've had about, 5 casts now. Every cast I've missed a bite, and obviously it's a great method for chub. I'm popping the bread up, 4 sort of 10mm discs, popping it up and trying to avoid the trout and the grayling and catch coarse species. I'll always take a chub, but let's just hope a roach or a big dace comes along. I've had dace to 14 ounces downstream, and I've had dace to over a pound on the beat. Well, dace to a pound exactly, my personal best upstream. So I'm sure there's dace in between. But another lovely chub, probably, I don't know, £3 that one. Slide her back. I'm not worried about putting them back in this swim because I'm not going to exhaust this swim. I'll probably have maybe take another fish out of here and then go roving about and exploring to see if anything special is lurking in these waters. Well, there you have it. Another beautiful chub from the river test, fishing the feeder and a couple of little sort of like 8mm bread discs. Not the biggest, 3.5 pound. I really would like a big roach or a huge dace, but I'm happy catching these. I've never known chub to be so lively as they are down here on a river test. They fight hard, even on the bank. So yeah, happy catching those, but I'm really looking for something quite special. Well, I've not been here long now. I've had 3 chub, missed a couple of bites, only had about 6 or 7 casts. And the last cast I just dropped short of the far bank cover, and straight away the rod tip tapped, hooked a fish, and I thought that's not a chub. And I was hoping it was going to be a roach or a big dace, but along come the species that I'm actually trying to avoid, the lady of the stream, grayling, probably about a pound and a quarter. I'm not going to pick her up because they're an absolute nightmare. It's not what I'm after, so I'm going to drop her back, and then hopefully sooner or later that tip will go round and something special will turn up. We'll see. Just going to cast this a bit further downstream. Sometimes the fish do back off and it's worth just trying a little bit further down, can get you a bite. As can casting upstream, because sometimes a little tap then, sometimes the fish can move upstream. I am putting the chub back in this swim, which is not something I would normally do, just move them a few yards downstream. Just buys you a little bit more time before they move back upstream to join their mates. Oh, there we go. I don't think that's a chub. What is it? Splasher. Probably a trout, I'm guessing. You never know doing this. No, another little grayling. Not what we want. Just going to cast this upstream and see if that makes any difference. Don't trust your casting because let a little bit of line out. Dropbacks are normally chub, rattlers, normally something different. To another fish, I'm not sure what this is. I think it's a chub, a smaller one. Absolutely superb fishing here. Absolutely loving this all the time. Yeah, another chub. That's it. That's going to be the last one in this swim. I reckon I could stay all day and catch these. Beautiful, but I need to go and explore and catch a few more hooked in the lip. Oh, lovely, beautiful. It doesn't get much better, but it does when you're catching them on the float. Well, there you have it. That's chub number 5, I think. The river test. Caught on the feeder, short hook link, quick stop with 4 10mm pieces of bread on there, little feeder, short hook link so I don't deep hook, and loving every minute. But I didn't come here for chub, I came here for hopefully roach and dace. So bait for today could not be simpler. It's just good old Hovis, medium slice white. Some of it I've liquidised at home, you're leaving the crusts on. I'm not really worried what fish I'm attracting, I just want to get fish to my hook bait. And all I'm simply doing is getting one of these meat punches, punching some discs out. I think this is about 8-10mm, this one. And then getting my hook link, which has got a quick stop on. My hook link's made of fluorocarbon for 6-pound breaking strain. It's only 0.15. And then, like a plonker this morning, first thing I did was I dropped my quick stop needle in the river. So I'm using an alloy stem float, sticking it into the quick stop, which is attached to the hair. Putting 3 or 4 discs on, try not to press those too much, and then I just twist, remove the float from the quick stop, twist it, and I've got 4 little 10mm, 8mm, 10mm discs on that super specialist size 14 hook, and then attaching that to a quick change bead. And in the feeder I'm using whatever feeder can hold bottom. Another little tip is don't go putting a massive feeder out there like a brick that holds bottom, because your bites will be really finicky. Use the smallest feeder you can get away with and just let a bit of line out so it can hold the bottom if needed, or hold the rod really high. And again, that I'm just filling that up with a bit of liquidised bread, and that's it, nice and simple. My hook link's quite short, sort of 6 to 8 inches. The reason I'm using a short hook link is I don't want to deep hook fish. Grayling are really bad at just coming up, sucking in your bait and actually swallowing your bait, and once they put that down their throat you've got problems. They are very fragile. I'm trying to keep away from the grayling. I've only had 2 today. One was lip hooked and the hook came out in the net on the other, so that's really good. So nice and simple. Again, no frills with me, it's just good old basic fishing and putting it in the right place. It's time to come and have a little, just a little rove around the river. I was a bit greedy in the last swim and I had 6 chub, 2 grayling, which, as you can imagine, it's really difficult to remove yourself from a swim that's producing, especially when you've done so little fishing like I have over the last few weeks. But if I'm going to find out if there's any secrets to be had, I'm going to have to rove around, just drop a feeder in a swim for 3 or 4 casts over 15 minutes or so. This does look a bit chubby to me, so we will see. If there's anything out here, I'm pretty sure I will know quite quickly. Flow is incredible and this isn't even fast. One more cast here and that'll be it. move on. Flow is amazing. And there's a fish. What is it though? Feels a good fish, that does. Oh, blimey. It's going for the tree, so I'm guessing it's a chub. Blimey, that tried. Yeah. It's a good chub, that is. Whoa. You knew where that snag was, I tell you. Amazing the flow here. Gee whiz. I think you've hooked a blooming 7-pounder. That's a good chub. That's as good a chub as I've had from this river, or from this stretch. Look at that. New swim, same result. River test down here, absolutely full of chub. They're all very much like peas in a pod, around 3.5 pound, but absolutely mint fish. That fish looks so much bigger. It looked like a 6-pounder when I was playing it. I think it's just the flow leads you to make it look bigger. But beautiful river test chub on a feeder, keeping away from the trout and the grayling at the moment. Would love to get some roach and some dace, but these things are getting in on the action quicker than they do. This swim here screams out chub. In fact, I have had chub here before. So I'm just going to go over onto the far bank, but I'm going to have to hold the rod in the air, keep it out of the flow on the inside. Got a lot of grayling here as well, just trotting through, but you have to investigate even these swims, because you never know where a big dace or a big roach might be lurking. But it's not really what I would say is a roach or dace swim, and I'm expecting chub if I get a bite. So just keep moving around and exploring. That's part of the fun of it. There's a chub out here. You normally see him on the gravel bank on the far bank, but they are quite spooky here. I've just had a chub from the other side of the tree, so it might have been part of the shoal here. Oh, that was a bite. What was that? I know there's a fish here. I think if it was a chub, I probably would have hooked that. But that feeder had come round in the flow into the fast water. So here we go, 2 or 3 casts in each swim. That's all you need to reveal what lives there. I'll let a bit of line out this time. I actually felt that bite through the rod tip. Come on, tell me what you were. Little tremor then. There we go. Little tremor. I'm thinking, what was that? Every cast, every swim is a fish. God, you just cannot beat this sort of fishing. What are you? Big silver fish that was. Oh, gee whiz. Where are you? Gotta admit, I'm not a great lover of this reel. It's all or nothing. But there you have it. Another river test chub. As I said, they're peas in a pod. Sort of 3.5 pound fish. Really lively here. I certainly wanted that. Oh, come on. Not deep hooked, it wasn't deep, but it was well in its mouth. A bit smaller than the others. There you have it. Another one. Where the roach and the dace. I think they're being pushed out by the chub. Time to move on. Right, I just want to run through the tackle, fairly simple. I've got a 12-foot carbon active super feeder here with a 2-ounce tip. Little Dara reel loaded with 6.6 Browning Black Magic line. Love this line. If you want to know where to get hold of this, just email me. And then on the business end, I've just got a small feeder. This is a 20 gram. I'm having to hold the rod quite high in most swims just to stop it from dragging. I've got a little Browning adapter swivel here, which allows me to change the weight of the swivel. Some of the swims are like little eddies and pools, and I can get away with a smaller feeder. Some I need a bigger feeder. Down to a quick change buffer bead, and then I've just got a small sort of 8-inch, 10-inch hook link made from, I think this is 4.5 pound fluorocarbon, down to a size 14 microbarb super specialist hook, and I've got a hair with a quick stop on, and on that I'm just putting 4 little discs of bread, filling the feeder up with liquidized bread, going in new swims, sort of 3 or 4 casts, and as you've seen, if there's fish there, you're going to know about it pretty quick. So nice and simple. As I say, no frills with me. Keep it simple. It's more about kind of locating the fish, finding them, and once you've done that, keep it nice and simple and you'll catch them. Well, Mr. Deeks is into his second chub. Just ease them in. Proper bagging. Did you see that bite?
Yeah, I did.
No, take it easy. If they're splashing, you're giving them too much. That's a little one. You're the pest controller, aren't you? But
I'll do something right for you one day, Duncan. Don't know what I'm going to do right for you.
it's a little chub. But it's a chub, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Well done, yeah, mate.
A little one.
You've got 2 and going back.
Yeah, that's a tiddler. But you want a picture or you're alright? If they don't go in the weeds over there, they're in there.
Yeah, do a picture, why not?
That's a little one, that's a tiddler.
Wait a minute, a bigger one.
You're not having any more?
Oh, why not?
A cock up of that. Poor thing.
Well, you have one more car, I'm going back. Fuck you. He's not on there now, is it?
Yes. Yes. Really nice. You let Mr. Deeks go in your swim, and it's like chucking a hand grenade in there. And then he tells you, he says, "F you."
That's not on there.
Yeah. Well, I'm down on the river test. It's my second session targeting or trying not to target the game fish and see if I can catch some coarse fish that I know live here. It's the 18th of Feb. Storm Dudley is doing its best to deter us. I don't know if I'm mad, keen or mad. In fact, I do know what I am. I'm bloody mad. But managed to get down here. I started in the pool, had 12 fish on the bread, but not any coarse fish, just grayling, sea trout and trout. So I've come upriver into a roach swim. Now this, if you're going to catch a big roach on this stretch, this is where it's going to be. It's blown a hoolie. It is a birthday treat, but as I say, the weather's not treating us to being very kind to us. But I've come up in the roach swim, fishing the bread. Tip's gone round straight away. And alright, it's not the prettiest fish in the world, but it is a coarse fish. And it did have me legs going a little bit to jelly because I'm halfway there because it's a roach bream hybrid. About the size of the roach I want here. But as you can see, it certainly gave me a bit of a jelly leg time. Lively as hell. First cast, coarse fish. I'm getting there, I'm learning something. You never know, the next bite might be a big roach or a big dace. Well, it's been an enjoyable couple of sessions doing something different on the river test here down in Hampshire. As you know, I'm not one to cast a feeder out into the river, but I've tried to avoid the game species and try and target a few coarse fish. Caught loads and loads of chub down here, it's just full of them. I've kept away from those chub swims today because I know what I'm going to catch. I fished the big whirlpool, but I've just got absolutely smashed up by kind of sea trout, brownies and a few grayling, and trying to get through those species was just impossible. So I went upstream into a known roach area and straight away jelly leg moment as that hybrid came along. And I've always liked the look of this, an area where there's a load of rushes down here, thinking there's probably a few roach and chub down there. And there we go, once again, just cast out a little bit of bread on the hair rigged, on the discs, and another chub's come along. Again, they're not the biggest down here, but beautiful fish, great fun. There are ways to avoid the trout and the grayling and get through to these sort of species. But that'll be it now. I think I've sort of scratched the surface down here. I'd like to maybe have a go next winter down on some other beats, some of the carriers, and because I think here it is really, the coarse fish are few and far between, but that hybrid just shows that the next bite could be a massive roach, a huge dace. But I'm going to go and do a bit of exploring next winter, and I look forward to that.